I didn't mean to cut it off that quickly, but I started it. All right, we're good. All right. What an embarrassing song. Okay. I think I put the mics back on. We should be
Amazing. That was amazing.
I really don't want to start this by not talking about the game last night, but also like, wow, screw ESPN or whoever's in charge of Saturday's game. What a joke!
Yeah.
Oh my
Kind of
god,
disappointing.
embarrassing.
Hopefully they get it figured out.
Well, I'll just say this before we get into the game from last night. If the also welcome to episode 37. I never said that. Forgot to say that.
Wow, the intro song really messed up the show already.
Because it was so bad. It was a lot worse than I thought. But you know, it is what it is. So, you know, if Illinois is number 6 in the country and this is a huge rivalry game against a Missouri team that's good, and majority of people can't watch it because it's on the SEC Network's alternate channel, I mean, that's one of the biggest screw jobs in the history of college basketball.
Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't. I guess because they predicted or they're doing the time late, or
it's all about college football.
At 11.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's all about college football.
About college football. It's basketball season.
I'm very disappointed, but we'll figure it out. I'm assuming, as of now, we don't know if we're even going to do the watch party or not, so we'll figure that out, I guess. But yeah. I don't really know how we would do it if we. I mean, we could do it virtually if something. I don't know. Whatever. So let's get into the game from last night. A very solid win for the Illini. 83-68. 15-point win. Don't let the score deceive you. This was a 20-plus point basketball game. It wasn't even close, to be honest. I nailed Duke's score, so I got that going for me, but I was 11 points off on Illinois. I had 72-68.
Yeah,
so.
Didn't believe in their offense. 85-78 is what I had, so put ours together. We're pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
But
4-point margin. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, great win. Player of the game. My player of the game is going to be Georgie again, just because it's nice to have Georgie have back-to-back pretty solid games. First time that I think he scored double digits in 2 games back-to-back since January. He was 4-6 from the field, 11 points. He was 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds. He had a block and an assist. And it's great to see him playing well, especially Kofi's been struggling mightily, I would say. So Georgie coming in and putting in positive minutes is really helping this team.
Well, I went with DeMonte because I think it's rude if we both have the same one,
Yeah, and, that's a great pick.
I wanted to. I was leaning towards Io, but like, 18
I wrote
and 12,
down Io. I wrote down Io first. I will say that, but I just going back and going over the stats and looking at the game again, I decided to go with Georgie. So
yeah, I mean, Io at 18 and 12. It didn't really feel like he had 18 and 12. I mean, he had so many rebounds in that game that it didn't seem like he did.
Was quietly putting up 18 points a game, it seems like.
Yeah, so. DeMonte was great. He only played 20 minutes because he had 4 fouls for like the entire game.
A couple iffy calls.
Yes,
that too.
He was 4 for 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. He seems to make every shot.
He does,
and he's got a lot of space. I mean, you look at the first points they scored in the second half was that kick to the corner. DeMonte was wide open. Mm-hmm. And that first 3 that DeMonte hit in the first half was one of the craziest passes by Miller. That was a great pass. And,
he was going up towards the basket in the air and somehow kicked it out to him. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Jay Billis had a nice love fest with the Illini freshman, which wasn't creepy at all. The thing that I hate, and we'll get into Jay Billis more later, but like the thing that I hate with him and guys like him and Herb Street, who I think they're very good at their job and they know what they're doing, but it just seems to me like they go out of their way to sound unbiased when they're doing their former school's team game.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I thought he did a pretty good overall job last night until the end of the second half, which was just annoying.
I like listening to Jay. I think he's a great basketball mind. He does.
It's better than Dockich or whatever the hell his name is.
He hates NCAA and everything they stand.
I like that for the most part.
So But yeah. And also along with DeMonte, you put him down. I wrote this down right before we started, but DeMonte is shooting 69% from three.
Seems good.
Nine of 13. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's taking shots when he needs to take shots when he's open. And he's making them, and that's huge. We saw that at the end of last year, and now it's carried over.
Do you know that he was Frank Williams' son?
Really?
They said that last night, and I didn't even know it. I looked it up. It's true. Did you know that?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I mean, seriously, I had no idea.
Okay. On to more of the game.
I didn't know that. No one's ever said that before.
Where
seriously.
have you been? Oh boy.
I figured they get mentioned every time. It's like father and son playing at the same school. It's kind of cool.
They should.
Jeez.
Well, I guess when he got recruited, you weren't really paying attention because we weren't doing this, right? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I was paying attention.
Just became a fan.
Okay. Whoa.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, Illinois, like you said, this game was pretty much dominated. I would call it a domination from beginning to end. Never really felt like this game was going to get, there were a few times where Duke made a run, but it never got within 10 points. But Illinois starting the same five guys, just like they have been. And then they're bringing in the three guys, Curbelo, Grandison, and Georgie, for Miller, Kofi, and DeMonte. Grandison only played 1 minute this game, which was kind of surprising. Bosman Verdonk, who has been reactivated, said that he was going to get some time, but he didn't play any minutes. So I don't know what's going on with that. And we really haven't heard anything about Hutcherson, so I'd like to know some updates about him.
Probably out for the year.
Yeah, maybe can he medical redshirt now? I don't know.
I don't see why not.
Yeah. But Adam Miller got off to a hot start. This is what Illinois needs. There's a big difference between when Adam Miller goes 0 for 6 from three and when he starts off and he makes his first three threes. And he had a little minor injury. They said that he hurt his funny bone and ended up going 0 for 2 after that. So he was 3 for 5 from three. But it's great getting him going. We see how pretty his shot is. And when they're going down, it's going to be huge for this Illini team. So I thought the defense was really solid. Starting off this game, Kofi, I thought, played well around the rim. He was, making people change their shots, doing what Kofi needs to do inside. As far as the offensive end, though, man, he just has – it doesn't seem like he's changed from last year at all. His hands are still really bad. Every time he gets the ball with his, a defender on his back, I feel like he's going to turn the ball over. He just seems very weak with the ball. But, solid outing, 4 for 9 from the field, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. He did have 2 turnovers, which, of course, were inside when he just wasn't strong with the ball. And the big thing with him was he was 5 for 10 from the free throw line. So he's going to have to figure out, he kind of got it going last year from the free throw line. But overall, the Illinois team shot well from the free throw line. They were 18 for 24, which we've stressed how bad their free throw shooting is. So you got to think Kofi missed 5 of them, and I think Georgie missed the other one, and the other guys made them all.
Sounds about right, yeah.
But yeah, so Kofi, I don't know. He's struggling. I don't know what else to say about it.
Once again, when Kofi and George are on the floor, something stupid happens defensively. I think Matthew Hurt got a couple buckets when they were both on the floor. They can't seem to figure out the matchups. Like, there was so many matchups defensively for Kofi. And I don't know if that's by design. I'm sure it is. Where Kofi's outside with a guard just gets passed by, goaltending.
The switches, I think Illinois relies heavily on them, which I don't know if let's fight through some more screens and make it so Kofi doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I thought Georgie had a hard time on Hurts too last night. Hurts was he's kind of a step quicker. I thought that they held Hurts, pretty well, but then I went back and he had 19 points on 8 of
Yeah.
15 shooting, so
Yeah.
didn't hold him as well as I thought. But
Well, he didn't make any threes. His shot sucks. I mean, he typically has a
he
good
did,
shot. He has a lot
yeah,
more space, but
yeah,
man, his
because
shot looked horrendous from three last night.
yeah, he did struggle from three. And just comparing this to the Baylor game, I mean, Duke's defense is completely different. Illinois was able to open up the floor more, um, and it didn't seem like they were running much of an offense still, but they were running up and down the court more, which is what you wanted more in the Baylor game. They were doing this in this game. Um, and Duke kind of ran that 2-2-1 defense. And as long as Illinois didn't turn the ball over against it, they they were getting up the court quickly and doing things. But Illinois really needs to figure out this turnover thing.
Way too much dribbling to try
Yeah,
to break the press.
not enough passing. That's you were taught that since you were little that you pass. You pass to break zones or to break presses. Usually, you don't want to try to dribble through them.
You know,
Um,
Illinois, I liked Illinois' defensive plan in this game because I think their defensive plan last night was legitimately the opposite of what they're going to have to do against a team like Iowa. They kind of
yeah,
just let Duke try to make their shots,
shoot.
see if you can hit the threes. They didn't. Duke didn't. And Duke, I mean, man, who's worse, Duke or Kentucky? I think Kentucky's a little worse, but man, they're bad.
They're not great.
Oh man, and
so,
I don't really think Kansas is that good
mean,
either.
I think they get the 10, out of the respect. I think Kansas is way overranked at 5, but yeah, and you saw it. I mean, Iowa made 17 threes. Uh, it's crazy when Illinois plays them. They're going to have to close out, and sometimes they struggle to do that, I feel. But
Illinois is going to have to turn the Iowa game into something where Illinois is just flying up and down the court, getting transition points because Iowa doesn't play defense.
Iowa doesn't play defense at all. So
Iowa,
and that's why UNC got back into that game last night.
Yeah, I mean, if Iowa wasn't so hot from 3 last night, they would have lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
There you go.
But yeah, but talking about turnovers for Illinois, Curbelo and Frazier both had 5, which those are supposed to be our point guards. I mean, I know Frazier, when he puts the ball on the ground, it's kind of worrisome sometimes. But he's always been a shooter. So I appreciate when he shoots. He shot the ball fine last night. I don't think he shot enough, but Curbelo I feel like he's moving too fast for the game right now. And he's, trying to do a little too much. But he's fun to watch. There's no doubt about that. But as a team, Illinois had 18 turnovers this game. And we didn't talk about it last time, but they only had 12 against Baylor in their defense. So that Duke press and, being up on them really flustered Illinois. A little bit more than maybe Baylor did, but yeah.
Curbelo's going to be good if he can limit turnovers.
Curbelo's, honestly, he already is good.
I
loved not be 4-year senior good, but he is good.
I loved when whenever he went flying around and got the ball taken away, and then they called a timeout. And Underwood just says, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?" Yep. That was, and he was out of control. And it's going to be trying to hold him back a little bit.
Didn't he get called for traveling twice? I think one of those is questionable, but
I thought they were. I rewound both of them. I thought they were both questionable. I wrote down, maybe if he wasn't a freshman, he would have been okay with that, according to Bardo.
Damn freshman.
But the way that Curbelo gets in the lane and he cuts through the lane with the ball, it reminds me a lot of Felice and the way he used to get around the hoop. Different body than Felice had, but and a little bit more finesse. But overall, that's the kind of player he reminds me of. And then there was the one time it was like the gift of the night, I think, under #Illini, when Curbelo was getting trapped mid-court, and he did that kind of step back and then went right through both of them and got in and laid one up to Kofi. Kofi kind of volleyball smashed it into the hoop or whatever.
Got to dunk those.
But But yeah, and I think, so Curbelo, you talk about his turnovers. He had five, but two of them were travels. One was very questionable. The other one, okay, I can see it. And then, a couple of the other ones are just passes I don't think the team sees coming, or passes to Kofi, and he throws his rocks down there and he can't catch it. But because he did have one pass to Io, and Io didn't see it coming. It might have been a little behind him, but um, it just I feel like, with more experience, if he cleans that up a little bit, he's going to be a very good guard for this team. And then everybody else can worry about scoring. And maybe that will get Trent into scoring more, taking more shots. Uh, you know, it's fun to watch him, and he could be amazing the rest of the year. He had 21 minutes, but he had 21 minutes, 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting, and 10 points in the second half. So in the second half, he kind of got the game going. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I got something in here, but and then Hawkins, solid player. He's not seeing a whole lot of time. 9 minutes is all he got. 9-10 minutes, depending on who you want to look at. But when he gets the ball, I'm never worried, which I like to see.
First time he touched it, he should have shot. He's
Yeah,
wide
yeah.
open.
I think he's holding back a little bit, but he dribbles the ball well, and I've talked about this. It's just different, and we talked about Grandison. I think Grandison is a lot like Griffin last year, where once he puts it on the floor, kind of get weary with him. I don't see that with Coleman Hawkins, which is really nice. He's not doing anything that hurts the team, and I feel like defensively at his size, he's going to help this team, even more. So, um, but yeah, I've been talking about Frazier a lot during all this, but Frazier played 35 minutes this game. Was 2 of 3 from three, like I said, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Just gets a little too careless with the ball. So uh, he's and I feel like they talk about how good his defense is. I feel like he's struggling to close out on guys. He's getting a lot of threes popped in his face. It feels like got beat backdoor once, but overall, fine game. We got to clean up the turnovers. So,
Yep.
But go ahead.
All right. Well, in terms of getting rid of the turnovers, you're going to play a Duke team, or you played a Duke team last night that is very inexperienced compared to what Illinois was, and I kind of like not having a team of 5 stars at this point.
Yeah,
Seems like it's not fun.
you look at it, and the teams that are getting these 5-star freshmen, they're the teams struggling this year. And I don't know if it has to do with how the season's progressing or whatever, but the teams that
Experience is the
played
most important
experience are
thing. Yeah.
definitely, absolutely.
You look at the top teams in the country. Okay, Gonzaga has a lot of experienced guys. Baylor
Mhm.
has a lot of experienced guys. Iowa has a lot of experienced guys. Illinois does. Michigan State, they do, but not as much as last year. Um, and everybody else that's highly rated has a lot of guys that have been there for 3 years or more. And
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't,
and
I
that's
don't
what
even think
people are saying. Oh, Kofi needs to get better. I kind of see it as Kofi might be coming back with Io's probably gone, but Kofi
well,
comes back, and we got Miller
I think
and Curbelo.
Io's the only one that's gone. I think right
Yeah,
now.
and then we don't worry about the class of 21 being not so great on
Yeah,
recruiting.
I don't think Miller is gonna be able. I just don't think he's gonna score enough and be able to do enough with Io still on the team for him
I
to be
agree.
able to be a one. But
Yeah,
I look at it right now though. I think Miller, and I don't want to make people mad by saying this, but I think Miller will eventually be a better NBA prospect than Io is
hmm
because he can shoot and he's
Well, and it didn't, it's not it. I don't think it's going to take him 3 years to get to.
probably
I mean,
two.
he's already built well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, Demonte. I mean, you already talked about him since he was your player of the game, but he's been the epitome of the glue guy. His D was really good. I felt, especially going against Hurts a lot, and being outmatched in that perspective. Him and Io both had 2 steals. and he had only had 3 rebounds, but like I said, he only played 20 minutes, so that might have factored into that a little bit more. But seemed a bit low for him.
The play that Miller got hurt on was a tremendous play by DeMonte.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it unfortunate that Miller had to pretty much sit out the rest of the game after that, but it appears he should be good to go. I'm assuming.
Yeah, like I said, Underwood said that it was he hit his elbow funny, I guess.
Funny bone deal.
Yeah, a little funny bone. But yeah, Io once again an impressive night. 18 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 12 rebounds, which I talked about the Baylor game and his rebounding and how well he is going after the balls once they go up. And last night really showed that rebounding has really improved for him. So he just he's going to do things that he's going to do. He's going to take some shots that you're like, maybe not. But he's going to do it. We're going to live and die by Io and, let him go. Over the start, he's averaging 22.6 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game, which he's the only guy in the nation they said that was averaging 26 and 6, which are over 26 and 6. So pretty impressive to start out. So, and he did have some foul trouble. He got charged or called for a charge, which was absolutely terrible. I don't know what happened to the flop rule or whatever that the NCAA was supposed to be doing, but that guy, I mean, barely got touched on the shoulder and just fell down. But kind of within that is when Duke went on their little 9-0 run and got it within 10. And Illinois, during that time, they had 6 possessions. They had 4 turnovers and went 0-2 from the field on those 6 possessions. So definitely, like we said, got to clean up the turnovers. But I felt like this was kind of when Curbelo took over the game. He, I had him written down like 4 times in a row on my notes, just things that he did, getting inside, making layups, doing those little, making those bunnies that you got to make, tossing it up to Kofi a few times, just doing everything that we needed. So I feel like he's the only guy that can get in the lane and find a way to dump it off to somebody, or kick it out or whatever. Again, I'm real high on Curbelo. So, but this game, like we said, I had never felt in jeopardy. Illinois was always up 10. I saw that Illinois led for 39 minutes and 12 seconds of this game. The other 48 seconds, it was tied 0-0 and 2-2.
All right.
So, Underwood after the game, little quote from him: "We came into Cameron Indoor and found a way to win." And according to Joey Wagner, who we've had on the show, said they started smiling, smile kind of took over his face. And winning at Cameron Indoor, fans or no fans, is still huge. I understand that fans probably would have made it a lot harder, but there's no denying that Illinois was the more talented team on the court last night. Like I said, there was just never a position where you thought that this was going to be trouble for them. So, but Underwood also said, speaking of this Duke game, he said that we had a different presence about us today than we had in Indy. He said that they were almost too tight against Baylor, which I can see. It was kind of that first big game, and it was a huge one, playing number 2. And he said that the team just acted like they had never been there, which, I mean, honestly, they haven't. This team has not been in that situation where you're playing number 2. You're playing a team like Baylor, and, you come out tight, I guess. It's not, something that people don't see. So this is the first time Duke has lost in the ACC Big Ten Challenge at home. So
Illinois suck on that.
Yeah, put a little one in their loss column for that. So overall, just a really good game. You got any more on the game or your thoughts?
How about the fact that the Big Ten is absolutely ragdolling the ACC in the challenge?
Yeah.
Not even fair.
Yeah, it was it 6-1 after this game?
Yeah, and the one win that the ACC has was Purdue
Purdue,
blowing a lead against Miami.
Purdue was up 19 against Miami.
Yeah.
And as an Illinois fan, we know how it feels to have Miami come back and beat you. So
How about Penn State burying Virginia Tech? That was pretty surprising.
Yeah, I didn't see much of that game. So.
Well, Virginia Tech being ranked, Penn State losing Lamar Stevens, and Penn State probably being a bottom 5 team in the conference.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a bottom 5 team in this conference, but
right. Yeah, the Big Ten's been impressive. So my brother sent a ranking to the group, and he had Big Ten first, and then he listed all the rest, ACC last of all the Power 5 conferences. How do you feel about that?
I don't really think the SEC is very good, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I think
I'd go back and find it, but we send 800 texts a day, so it'd take me a half hour.
The clear number 1 and 2 is the Big Ten and the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And then if we're counting the Big East as a power conference, I'd say they're up there. Pac-12, I don't know. Mm-hmm. The ACC is not very good when Duke and North Carolina are very good. Honestly, by watching the games last night, I think North Carolina is better than Duke, to be honest. I mean,
yeah,
the way I see it, they just seem to have a little bit more athleticism, and would have beaten Iowa if Iowa didn't make a million threes. So, and they held Garza in check. I mean, Garza didn't have a great game. I think
Bohannon shot like 33 threes that game.
He made a lot of threes, yeah.
If I had to guess. So, but yeah, you talked earlier about Jay Billis kind of getting on his soapbox. I just kind of wanted to bring it up.
And he starts doing it when it's like a 17-point game. Like, oh, Duke's getting killed. Let's not focus on that.
Yeah, yep. I thought it took a lot of the focus off Illinois and how well they're playing. But he's talking about how the players don't get to see their families. And, basically said, let's be honest, these kids are only playing because of the money. Yeah. Not the kids making the money, but the NCAA making the money, the Big Ten making the money, which I find ironic, seeing how he's traveling all over the country to, be a commentator on these games. But, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know the right answer to this. I feel like these kids want to play, and they're making sacrifices to play, and they have no qualms about it. Send a survey out and ask the kids, what they think. But I understand, not being around your family, it probably takes a toll on you, but like this Illinois team, they want to play in March. They want to have a shot at the national championship. And he brought up the comment about if the kids were outside playing and there was a lightning strike or something. And it's kind of like, it's a little different, I guess. But he basically said the NCAA needed a better plan and not to pass it on down to the schools, things like that. But that's what everybody's doing during this pandemic. It's all being passed down, individualized. The president passes it down to the governors, and the governors pass it down to the small municipalities, just kind of with the school board, the school and kids going to schools. Trump's not making that decision. The governor doesn't want to make that decision anymore. He's passed it all the way down to the school boards. So I don't know if there's any right or wrong answer with this, but I feel like the kids want to play. They're okay with the sacrifices they're making to play. If you look at the Big Ten, has the Big Ten stopped play for any team yet?
No.
They haven't had a case yet.
Here's how I look at it. Yeah. Here's how I look at it. Okay, number one, the kids don't have to play if they don't want to. I think everybody playing wants to play, and they understand what comes with it, right? So I also hate the NCAA, not as much as Jay Billis does apparently, but I find it funny that
hates that they don't pay him. Basically,
he works for a company that sucks, and he's making fun of another organization. I mean, let's be honest, ESPN is trash. I think that's fair to say. I think they have some good guys that call the games. I think they have some good people that cover basketball. for the most part, ESPN sucks. Look at how many layoffs they've had in the last year. Nobody cares about them anymore. They have this stupid subscription service that nobody cares about, that you only pay for if the Masters of the U.S. Open is going on. Let's be honest about that. But here's the deal with the whole thing. Not one size fits all for all these plans. You can't have, like, these small conferences can't have the same plan as the big conferences. So how does a broad plan make sense? Now, if I think the NCAA was to redo it again, I think it'd be smarter for them to have the bigger power conference schools play each other instead of playing the smaller schools. Because you look at the majority of games that have been canceled have involved a very small school, with the exception of, Virginia and Michigan State, and then Gonzaga, Baylor, and then Wisconsin and Louisville. But I just don't understand how he could just say that without actually really having anything that, like, how do you do that? How do you have a broad plan? How does that work? You can't do that. This is a country of 331 million people. Not everyone can have the same plan. Like, we live in a town that is very small. Should we have the exact same plan as, like, Chicago? No. It doesn't make any sense. So just saying, I find it funny, most of these college basketball analysts and writers are all crying that the season should be stopped. I mean, it's embarrassing. They need if you're gonna make a point about this, how about you actually back it up with stuff that makes sense?
And the thing is, what would it do to the kids that are all in and they want this?
Exactly.
And you tell them, hey, by the way, we're done again. We took away your tournament last March, and now you can't even play again. I think that they would have a harder time mentally with that than, hey, you got to stay in your dorm, which, I mean, if you're in Illinois, you can't do anything anyway. So I don't understand that thought.
And who's to say they're safer going to see their families for the holidays or traveling than they are playing basketball, where there's protocols in place?
What if they take, if one of them would happen to get it, what if they take it home to their families to go see them, and then, something happens to one of their family members,
But, sacrifice that they understand they're making, and they know they're making it, and they're okay with making it. So I don't know why we're trying to, like, push this narrative on them that, we got to stop it because everything sucks and we can't do anything, as if every other sport is not happening right now.
Right.
College football has been completely destroyed by this. The Big Ten is so stupid that they had to change a rule for Ohio State, and they're still playing. I mean, it's embarrassing.
That's unreal. But
these articles about, pause the season. I mean, I like Dickie V. I think at the end of the day, he's a nice, good guy who wants the best for everybody, or says that, but he's also throwing his name in the hat of, we got to pause the season, or Rick Pitino saying that, or Coach K saying that because their teams suck. I mean, it's embarrassing. It really is. If you're going to make this point, you need to have evidence to back it up, or at least a good plan in place, because if you stop the season right now, who's to say logistically that that's going to work? And who's to say that this isn't going to get in the way of the NBA draft next year for guys who want to go to the draft? So I think the fact that it's already started, I don't think it's going to be stopped. I don't know what it would take for it to be stopped. Maybe like half of the programs in each conference getting shut down would stop it, but it's not going to stop. And we knew what was going to happen. We knew there would be cancellations. And honestly, quite frankly, we knew that there would be people crying in their articles about how the season should be paused or canceled.
Sure.
We knew this was going to happen. And I'm a little surprised it's already happening on December 9th, but, whatever.
And
then we have to hear about it for 10 minutes on a broadcast during a game that is still, there's still some time left. It's like a 10-point game, but let's talk about this for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Jay Billis has plenty of platforms to announce that on, or whatever, write an article about it. I don't feel like it was a place, but we try to keep this pretty much about basketball. So, but it felt like something that needed to be talked about. You sent me a thing about Coach K today, which was I found it odd, but he was all for playing, and said that the NCAA couldn't go another year without the tournament,
which is true.
Duke starts off 2-2. And now he starts questioning playing basketball during the pandemic.
Sounds about right.
I don't know. I guess. See, and that's the thing. If you're bad, I mean, if you're scared of, if you're like Ohio State and you're scared to play Illinois in football, what do? You just cancel the game. Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a whole, Tom Brady not shaking other quarterbacks' hands thing, but did Coach K acknowledge Underwood after the game? It just kind of seemed like he walked away.
Yeah, I didn't.
Unless the camera didn't catch the wave, but Underwood was going like this. Camera goes 1 second later to Coach K walking away. I'm just wondering.
I didn't get to catch.
I'd like to get another.
Minutes of the game.
So. We could turn this into Coach K Gate. This is Coach K Gate. We need another camera.
So Coach is he's now questioning it. I thought Ross Dean today, he's been kind of tweeting about this a lot, and the games being played, but 64 college games were planned today, and 12 have been postponed or canceled. That means 81.3% of the games are currently going on as planned. And he does this kind of every day or every other day. Where they're getting 80 to 90% of the games in, and that's kind of what we expected. I mean, protocols being taken when a team, cancels games, they're out for 14 days.
It's 10. It's 10 now.
Is it 10?
Other teams are doing 10.
Okay. Well, whatever they're doing. But yeah, so games are still being played, and they're, and teams are finding other teams to play. I mean,
yep.
Wisconsin's playing Rhode Island today, right? So
right now, yep. Yeah, and here's the thing. This is why Rothstein is who we need for this sport. He's not bowing down to the virus like all the other writers are. He wants it to happen. He knows it's going to happen. He knows it has to happen. So I like it. 81%. That's like, 81% is pretty good. Better than I thought, especially when it's surging as much as it is right now across the country. And you got to think in a couple months with all the conferences playing each other, I think a number should be higher than 81%.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna. If it goes anywhere near 50%, maybe you should be worried, I guess. But 81% is pretty good.
Yeah, and I think once you get once the Big Ten gets into conference play, I think they'll be fine going through their games.
You would think so, yes. Maybe some worries around conference play early because it's around Christmas and you don't know what's going to happen. But
sure.
Yeah, and I know
if we need to pause for 2 weeks, we pause for 2 weeks.
Like the entire sport or Illinois.
Well, we just moved March Madness back a little bit.
Don't like it, but I guess if it's only 2 weeks,
April Madness.
I don't see that happening, but the NCAA has no clue what they're doing. I kind of feel like they just say screw it and kind of just make something as they go along. So I agree with Billis in the fact the NCAA sucks, but I find it hilarious that he spent 10 minutes of the game talking about it and then really not offering any good points, just kind of saying whatever all the other ESPN people are saying, which is hilarious. Like, do they want jobs or not? It doesn't. I mean, if they're gonna advocate for the thing that they cover to be shut down or canceled, what's keeping you around? I mean, isn't ESPN laying off thousands of people like every month? Just saying. They should be careful. But let's talk about the Illinois-Missouri game, which, hilariously, we still don't know if it's going to be on normal TV or not. It doesn't seem like it is. I mean, the game's on Saturday, and it's supposed to be on the SEC alternate network, and who the hell actually has that for the most part? Probably not very many people. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch the game. So this is a shit show, so that's good. But this is encouraging. One of the first things that Ayo Dosunmu said after the game last night was a quote, "We got a hungry Missouri team next who's been playing great. We owe them one, definitely." So I love the fact that he's looking right to the next game. Missouri better watch the F out right after the game.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Ayo hasn't beat Missouri yet, right?
I think the one time that Underwood's beat Missouri was the 1 year he didn't have Ayo.
So, it was the year before he was a freshman.
So he's 1 and 2.
I gotta feel like Ayo's got, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
He might have 70 points in this game.
Especially, all the things that have happened between these, the players at Missouri, how the game was last year. I really think that Ayo might come out and blow it up. So.
I hope so. Let's look at the Haslametrics, of course, as is tradition on this podcast.
Right.
Missouri's 33rd overall. I think Illinois 6th right now. Missouri is 40th in offensive efficiency. I think Illinois is in the 30s in that. Missouri is 35th in defensive efficiency, and Illinois is 3rd in defensive efficiency, by the way. And then here's a fun one. Missouri is 274th in pace, and I don't really know what they use for that stat, but that tells me this is going to be a lot of half-court offense in this game.
Slow.
Which
that's what you're telling me.
they don't play fast.
I know you don't like Ken Palm, but Illinois is 10th in offensive whatever on theirs now.
Well, Illinois' offense is more efficient this year than it was last year, but is it really that much better? I guess. I don't know. I mean, let's just hope that Adam Miller is 100% ready to go for this game.
And like I said, I hope that he's good.
It doesn't sound like he's going to miss any games.
No.
I mean, it just seemed like he hit his elbow weird. And
felt funny.
Unless he's really feeling it today, I don't see why he wouldn't play Saturday. But
sure.
Watching a Wisconsin guy flop at the basket, that was nice. Good job. And Wisconsin's killing them. I'm distracted. The Duke, I also put in here, the Duke win is not going to mean much if you lose this one, which I don't even know why I really put that. I guess I
think that's great. I mean, I believe it.
The Duke win does mean a lot, but,
it doesn't mean anything, especially at the end of the season when Duke's going to be, 15-15 or whatever. And
that's fair, yeah.
Tournament.
But I still think even if Duke misses the tournament, there's going to be a lot of stock put in, winning at Cameron Indoor without fans. Still a little bit in that.
Right. And there's going to be a lot of stock if you lose to Missouri too, I think.
And when was the last time a team just thoroughly dominated Duke in their own? I mean, did Michigan State kind of did that? But
Yeah, I want to say that I saw somewhere that they've only lost like 11 non-conference games at home. Duke, that is. And 2 of those have been to Illinois. So.
Well, they also they lost to Evansville last year. Congrats to Evansville, one of the worst teams in the country
already this year at home.
Or no, they lost to Stephen F. Austin. It was Kentucky who lost to Evansville last year, but. Yeah, Kentucky and Duke suck. Mizzou has been off to a hot start. They beat Oregon and Wichita State. I think they should be getting more top 25, consideration. They have 2 solid wins.
They didn't have any votes in the AP?
They had some votes. They had like 13 votes or something really low.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't even close. I mean, Michigan was the team closest to the top 25 that didn't get in. But I don't see how they're not. I mean, I think I have them at 23. In my top 30, which I think my top 30 way more accurate than the AP.
Much more accurate.
Yeah, so. The AP is just a bunch of guys who's like, oh, Duke is 2-2. We didn't actually watch them play, but they lost to 2 good teams, so let's keep them in the top 25. I'm not going to do that. Or Kentucky is 1-2.
But they are Duke.
Yeah, exactly. And where's Kansas right now? 5?
5.
That's ridiculous. I have them at 7, and I thought that was being nice, but whatever. Yeah. Missouri plays Liberty today, and as far as I know, that game's still on. I don't know. You never know what could happen, but I'm assuming that'll happen. But just like last year, Mizzou's going to be, hungry, playing a team that Illinois is better than Missouri. I mean, let's be honest. On paper, it's not really close in my estimation, but that doesn't matter. This is a rivalry game. And last year, it seemed like Missouri wanted it a lot more.
Missouri was way more into that game than Illinois was.
Which is embarrassing, and they need to make up for that this year.
Yeah, and this year, I mean, we still don't know if they're allowing fans. I looked up tickets. They're $300 on StubHub. I think you said that it's like there is seating, but it's...
I don't understand. Like, I feel like I haven't heard anything about them allowing fans there, and I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I don't get it.
Maybe StubHub's selling, like, press passes or something. Who knows? But
I don't know why anyone would want that, but,
but yeah, if Missouri comes in with, more, we saw it in the Baylor game, how their, bench was. Saw it in the Ohio game, how their bench was. If Illinois comes in flat, Missouri will take advantage of it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, talent is not just going to win this game. So if Illinois plays Saturday like they played against Duke and they turn the ball over less, this might be a 50-point game, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So you just got to – I mean, I think Iowa's mentality about the game is good. Missouri's a hungry team. They've been playing great. and got to get a win.
We owe him one, absolutely.
So I won't say what I said fully on this part, but Mark Smith, who is a known you-know-what, who ditched the Illini program because he's,
soft.
Yeah, we could use that one. He leads them in scoring with 17. He doesn't score 76 a game. He scores 17.6 a game on 58% shooting. So he's having a pretty good season.
Pretty good season.
I'm assuming the matchup against him is going to be Io, I guess. I don't know. Or Miller.
DeMonte.
Yeah, but
No.
How tall is Smith?
6'5".
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at the heights of the Missouri players. I probably should have.
Mark Smith 6'5". Xavier Pinson is 6'2". Drew Smith. By the way, they got like 9 Smiths on their team.
And it's the same team as last year, basically.
Drew Smith is 6'3". Javon Pickett 6'5", who had a really good game last year. And Tillman is 6'10".
Okay, so Illinois is bigger. So, this is
because Missouri returned what, like 89% of their scoring from last year. Or something?
It's much more of a prototypical starting five than Duke is. Duke has a couple of 6'9" guys, and Duke started a center last night, which was weird, and I don't understand why they did that. I didn't really see the point, but I think you look at the matchups. I would say you probably throw Io on either Smith or Pickett.
Yeah.
And then you put Frazier on Pinson probably.
Yep.
And then Drew Smith against Miller, and then DeMonte versus Mark Smith, and then Kofi versus Tillman probably. Which, Kofi, is he even like, how much better is Kofi than Tillman at this point, honestly? I mean,
Kofi's just big,
I thought he was a little bit better. I thought he was a little bit better last night than he's been in most of the games this year.
Yeah, I don't think he was terrible, but it's those times when he gets the ball and you're like, he's gonna cough this up. Like, you just know it's coming.
Is he like afraid to get called for a foul or like hurt somebody? Like, I feel like he should be dunking it a lot more.
I don't know, because you watch Garza play and he literally is hooking everybody with his elbows, jabbing them in the gut. And, I'd like to see that from Kofi a little bit more. Get called for a foul. I don't care.
Yeah, Garza gets away with everything, so I can't wait to bitch about that later, which we kind of have to. But another one of those whats is Jeremiah Tillman, who leads them in rebounding with 8.7 per game, and he's shooting a stellar 22.2% from the free throw line.
Wow,
good for him. Drew Smith, a gritty player, I think, leads them in assist steals, and he averages 13 points a game, so he's been good overall. He's kind of like a little bit like DeMonte in the fact that he gets down and dirty and can score and get some steals and defensively solid and whatever. Xavier Pinson averages 14 points and is shooting 36%. So as a team, they shoot 49%, which is good, 75% from the line, but they're only shooting 32% from three. So they've struggled from downtown. So you'd think that Illinois can score more points than them, but we'll see. I mean, and
if it becomes a game where they're not making threes, I think Illinois definitely has a better chance to win.
Yeah, I think Illinois needs to kind of. Do you think Illinois goes into it kind of defensively with the same plan, similar to last night in terms of letting them shoot?
I think so.
Well, when the team's shooting 32% from three, I mean, you'd assume.
Except for
hopefully they don't get hot. Yeah, well, Mark Smith is a bum. I don't have anything nice to say about someone that ditches a program for being soft.
I agree.
Especially when you look at someone like Trent who stuck around. Mad respect.
Absolutely.
But I also talked a ton of trash about Tillman and Smith last year and Illinois lost, so
true.
I'm prepared for whatever happens.
I did not expect that last year. I thought Illinois was going to stomp them, so of course.
And you'd think this would happen, that they would stomp them this year because they're a lot better, but you never know with these games. So, Missouri likes to get physical. They play hard. Not an easy game, but it's a revenge game, and you better win because Underwood losing 3 in a row to Missouri is completely unacceptable. Considering if they lose this game, that's probably 2 of the 3 years where Illinois was a better team, flat out, than Missouri.
And
probably in the first year too.
A lot on the refs and how they let them play too. I believe last year Missouri, kind of could do whatever they want, and Illinois was getting called, for pretty much everything. So
It's in Columbia.
hopefully
That
we
doesn't
don't have
help.
that. I know. I know.
Well, the good thing about Illinois is that they can get away with like Kofi being in foul trouble now. If Georgie keeps playing the way he has and
so,
other
yeah.
guys stepping in, and
Yep.
like DeMonte was in foul trouble last night, he contributed, but they were good without him. So, if you see less turnovers from Curbelo and Frazier, I assume that the offense should be a little more smooth if they're turning the ball over less. And they've proven that they don't need Io to take over a game for them to win. The Duke game especially, Io really didn't take it over by any means.
No,
and
didn't have to.
they rolled them. So, and I hope that Miller gets an opportunity to shoot the ball a little more, because he made those first three and then didn't really shoot very much after that. So I think the difference in confidence between Curbelo and Miller and Hawkins is something. I mean, Curbelo and Miller seem like they're very confident players. Hawkins, I'd like to see a little more from him with that, especially if you see foul trouble for Georgie or Kofi and Hawkins has to step in. But
right, and I mean, honestly, you watch Curbelo turn the ball over and all that stuff. I don't think Hawkins needs to play scared. I mean, that's the thing, is these other two aren't playing scared. They're not afraid to make mistakes. And I hope that he's not in the timid mind that he can't make mistakes. But then again, what he played in the Baylor game, 4 minutes or something. This game he played 10.
He can't make mistakes.
Which I think Curbelo is going to be a great 10 to 15 minute guy. But he's just got to play with more confidence, I think.
So, what is your prediction for this game?
I think Illinois is going to come out and really put the screws to Missouri. I got Illinois winning this 80-64.
That's a little disrespectful.
They need disrespected.
I agree. I hope it's like 30, but whatever. I have Illinois 75, Missouri 65. Once again, you pick Illinois to score more points. I hope you're right once again, but
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like this is going to be a game where it's going to be hard to score a lot.
Yeah.
That's what Missouri's going to want to do.
Illinois makes threes, opens up the floor. Missouri's not going to have an answer for it. So
we thought a lot of this stuff last year. So.
Hey, you know what? I'm just riding the confidence. That Duke game made me feel good. Andy Katz, which
oh God,
I don't know if we're sliding into that yet, but
let's do it.
Kind of annoyed me moving Illinois out of the top 10. So I did say that Illinois was going to dominate Duke, and you said I was too high on Illinois. And what Illinois do? They dominated them.
I mean, I picked Illinois to win, so
that's true.
Andy Katz did as well.
I thought I was too excited for the game.
Yeah, let's jump into Andy Katz. Number one.
Yeah.
How in the hell do you move a team out of your top 10 after a loss to the team that's number 2 in your top 10?
Unbelievable.
It makes no sense, and it just makes me think that he's really just doing this for the reactions and make people pay attention, which if that's the case, then it's working. But
I mean, that's the thing. Andy Katz was bandwagon Illinois last year, lost the game later, or the Illinois had a rough start. He left, and then all of a sudden he comes back this year. Illinois, amazing. Literally lose to Baylor, and you move them to 11 in the power rankings. What are you talking about, buddy?
He put Richmond in there. Richmond is a good team, but they're an Atlantic 10 team that beat a terrible Kentucky team.
Yes. Yeah, and Kentucky's no good. And
it's embarrassing.
We've learned that now.
I mean, Andy Katz, on a scale of 1 to 100, his basketball knowledge is like a 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's embarrassing. It makes no sense.
He is absolutely not allowed to come back on the Illinois train.
And the fact that he has like this following and he gets to, he talks to Georgie after the game, like, how the hell does our guy, Kent Brown, who's the media relations guy at Illinois, let that happen?
Yeah, Illinois relations won't let us talk to a coach. But
we're the fans. You see the shirts. We're the fans.
But, let's let Andy Katz, who jumps off a bandwagon every 5 minutes.
So, Georgie, I moved you guys out of the top 10 despite the fact that you lost to one of the best teams in the country and you were in the game with them most of the time. And I put Richmond in there, who's a good Atlantic 10 team. What are your thoughts on that? And you guys played so well. Like, you guys are probably the best team in the country now because you beat Duke. You're so good. Also, he picked the Missouri to beat Illinois. Like, what a loser.
Jeez.
Fine, pick him, but don't Okay, just let me just tell him this, and I hope he hears this, and maybe I'll clip it and
Hashtag
send it to him and
fraud.
try to get
Hashtag
people to send it to him. But Mr. Katz, don't jump back on the bandwagon whenever Illinois starts to roll again.
Nope.
If they win Saturday, you're not allowed to jump back on and act like, oh, I knew it they're a Final Four contender. Oh,
I'm gonna have my size 11 to kick him back off of it.
I hate this guy, honestly. I mean, I don't hate him as a person. I don't know him as a person. I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't not say it anymore.
Just be honest. I get you.
I mean, we criticize a lot of people that cover basketball, but at least for the most part, the people that we criticize have an idea of what the college basketball landscape right now is. The only thing that Andy Katz knows is what his little assistant probably hands to him or that he looks up on the internet. He doesn't actually watch all of the games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, I mean, watching Richmond this entire season, do they really jump out as a better team than one of the best teams in the Big Ten? No, they beat a bad Kentucky team. We've already been over this. So nice try, Andy Katz. Fraud, loser, shouldn't even have a job at this point. Embarrassing. So
Correct.
There you go. Good for him. He's doing a great job.
I do have one little tidbit on recruiting. We talked about RJ Melendez.
He's coming. Trust me.
He has moved up to number 70 in the top 100 ranking.
I thought he was 65 on one of the ones that I saw.
I thought he was like outside the top 100. But anyways, he is moving up. Illinois, he's 6'7". Illinois probably needs to pursue him about as hard as they can.
I think they are.
How they don't have anybody.
I think he's one of the top priorities right now.
I think he'd be a good get. I've watched the video on him, and he seems pretty athletic. So
he's right behind our guy Mac Etienne in the top 100 that I saw. He's 65, and Mac is 60. And Mac's going to waste his time at UCLA when they're not actually going to win anything. They'll probably make a Sweet 16 or two, but whatever.
Yep.
I'm all for trying to, expand outside of just looking at these guys. Where's Melendez from? I need to know this because
I believe he's from Puerto Rico originally. They
I'm
talked
all
about him and Curbelo maybe playing on the Puerto Rican team.
I'm all for getting in-state players. I mean, he's worked.
Where's he from now?
He's probably from like Florida or New York.
I want to say like New York, but
which Illinois has gotten New York players under Underwood. I mean, Hutcherson played.
Kissimmee, Florida.
Okay, so speaking of New York, though, hey, they haven't had that much trouble getting New York players under Underwood. Hutcherson's from New York. Griffin
247 still has him at 142, but
they're not paying attention. So
he broke the top 100 for something.
He was 65 on the list that I saw. So
good.
But seriously, get some in-state players. Keep these players in-state.
Rivals has him at that's position. Never mind.
The one player that has completely changed the program is from Illinois, and another one that's a stud freshman is also from Illinois. So keep the players in-state. And also, DJ Stewart got absolutely bodied by his fellow Illinois friends last night. So congrats on going to Duke, man. I hope that was fun for you.
An interesting tidbit about that. I don't know if you heard it during the game. Curbelo grew up wanting to play for Duke.
Yeah, well, too bad.
Good for him to be able to go in and beat Duke playing for Illinois.
Who would want to play for Duke, honestly? I think it would be cool, but Curbelo would have been the best point guard in Duke history behind Bobby Hurley, of course. So, darn. So how about Io just hitting one right in the face of DJ Stewart at the end? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Io had a really nice block, too, in that game. Came out of nowhere. Of course, he blocked it off the backboard. Duke got it and scored. But he's definitely, you can tell how much more athletic he is. He seems to be able to jump out of the gym this year.
Okay, so what's next is we don't know at this point. So we're supposed to do the watch party on Saturday. I'm assuming we could still do that somehow. I mean, I don't know. I just got to find out how we can watch the game. And we could either do it in person or we could do it on Zoom or whatever. If it's not on TV, we could just do it on Zoom because the delays wouldn't matter. But we'll try to figure that out. I'd still like to do it. I don't know if we will. We'll try to figure that out and keep you updated because I've been having scheduled tweets every day. People think it's still on. I don't know if it's still on. So we'll see.
Get
So
your stuff together, SEC Network.
yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that, and then I'll tweet about that whenever. But episode 38 will be the next one, of course, and I'm assuming we'll do that Monday or Tuesday, following the Missouri game. We could do it Sunday, but I don't really care when we do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll be previewing the first Big Ten game against Minnesota, and maybe we could kind of revisit the Big Ten schedule and where we see it right now, and what Illinois could do. Then episode 39 would likely just be Friday or Saturday. We'll preview the Rutgers game. So we're kind of going to do a lot more episodes in between games just to kind of, because it's like fresh, you know?
Yeah, and this was kind of new. We usually schedule them for Fridays, do them on Fridays. We feel Ethan feels that
Yes.
We're not getting content out to you guys quick enough. So,
Well,
maybe you're losing interest, which is understandable. So, I hope you guys like that we are doing more, and you're going to be able to hear us and see our beautiful faces more.
here's the thing. It's a lot more fresh. That game's a lot more fresh on our minds now than it would be on Friday. So a Tuesday game, So I just think if we do an episode within a couple days after every game, I think people would be cool with that. But yeah, we'll do. We're gonna reach 100 episodes a lot faster this way too. So you got to think about that. So yeah, we'll be back at some point. Hopefully we're back Saturday, but that's up in the air for the watch party deal. But we'll see. We'll keep you posted on the Twitter at Podcast Illini, and we'll do episode 38 next week at some point. So yeah, hopefully.